Hey there, gang. Standard is a wild and fast place right now. It's easy to get frustrated or feel jealous when your opponents draw what they need and you don't. But remember, if malice and envy were tangible and had a shape, it would be the shape of a boomerang. Let's play some head games. Friends, opponents, lovers of unconventional weapons, welcome to Head Games Arena. My name is Jetterex, and today we're going to try to figure out the best way to use our boomerang. And by that, of course, I mean we are playing Dimir Self-Bounce or Dimir Boomerang, and we have renamed this deck in honor of the card Boomerang Basics. So we saw this in the Is It Lessons list last week, but this card's just making a splash in Standard overall as a 1-mana sorcery that returns any non-land permanent to its owner's hand, and if you controlled the permanent, draw a card. So it's versatile. You can stop your opponent or slow your opponent down from doing the things that they want to do. If they're doing stuff with tokens, you remove them permanently, but you're doing very much self-bounce shenanigans with your own stuff because you're drawing an additional card. This card is replacing itself when you bounce the thing back to your hand. So we have this traditional blue and black shell where we're playing high impact, low mana value permanents that have enters the battlefield abilities. So when we return them to our hand with Boomerang Basics, we get to reuse them. So 4 copies of Storm Chaser's talent, which makes the 1/1 Prowess Otter, does lots of other really important stuff, but we're going to pay attention just to that first mode for now. 2 copies of Tiny Bones, which makes your opponent discard a card when it enters. 4 copies of Fear of Isolation as another way to pick up the permanents on our board and use them again. 4 copies of Momentum Breaker, which makes your opponent sacrifice a creature, and if they can't, they discard a card, so there's always some impact with this card. Nowhere to Run gives a creature -3/-3, but also turns off Ward and Hexproof for your opponent's creatures, which is remarkably important in a format where Sheltered by Ghosts is really prevalent. At the top end, 1 copy of The House Grows Hungry, because it destroys a creature on its first chapter, and if you don't need to get to those other chapters, you can return this to your hand and just have a targeted removal as an enchantment. Because so many of our important self-bounce pieces are enchantments, we're playing 4 copies of Entity Tracker to make sure that we're keeping our hand full, drawing cards whenever enchantments enter. At the very top end, one of the main reasons we're playing this deck is The Legend of Kuruk. This is a 4-mana mythic saga. First 2 chapters, scry 2 and draw a card, and then on the 3rd chapter it turns into a 4/3 legendary avatar that when you cast a spell, any spell, create a 1/1 colorless spirit creature that can be blocked or only block other spirits. Can't be blocked by non-spirits is what it actually says. And there's an exhaust water bend to take an extra turn there. I don't imagine that I'm ever going to see that. You're certainly not going to in the video. The reason for this card is that it's an excellent card value engine, and then once you get to the backside of it, all of your spells turn into additional creatures and it closes out a game very fast. Because we're playing with Boomerang Basics, we're playing a little sub-theme of a Lessons, so we've got 4 copies of It'll Quench Ya as a counter spell and 3 copies of Accumulate Wisdom. We all know how powerful this spell is. Once you get 3 lessons in your graveyard, this is 2 mana to draw 3, and it's only 1 mana if you have 3 lessons and you've got 1 Grand. So we've got 1 copy of the old lady in here to hopefully reduce the cost of our spells, make everything a little bit easier to cast. For good measure, 1 copy of Tragic Trajectory as a spot removal. It's easy for us to trigger Void, so easy for us to get the full value out of this. In the land base, we've got 1 copy of Realm of Ko, 1 copy of Agna Kala, 2 copies of Restless Reef, and otherwise just as many blue and black dual lands as we can play. We're playing 4 copies of Starting Town because that's what I have in my collection, and I think it fits really well with this low to the ground deck. I think you'll find the deck is fairly powerful, fairly competitive. It can keep up with a lot of very powerful decks. Sometimes he doesn't go as far over the top of some of the big decks in the format, so it can struggle a little bit there. But all in all, super fun to play. It's not a new archetype, but we do have new cards in an existing archetype, so I think you're going to have a lot of fun with these games today. Before we head over into the gameplay, I'd like to invite everyone to please like, subscribe, leave some comments down below. Let me know what other decks you'd like to see from Avatar Standard. Thank you, as always, for watching. Let's play some head games. Alright, friends, game 1. This is Dimir Boomerang, or Dimir Self-Bounce. We are on the play. We've got a fair amount of interaction here. It'll Quench Ya 2 Momentum Breakers, and our favorite new card, The Legend of Kuruk. Let's see what we can do with it. Opponent on those fancy Bird of Paradise leaves. We get to start with the tap land, which is best place for that Restless Reef to happen. Don't mind that at all. Higher Claw for our opponents. Pretty safe bet that we should just momentum break that. Really slowed our opponent down quite a lot to remove their first creature. So what they do next, you know, ooh, okay. Arabella, okay, I don't mind this at all. The reason I don't mind this is because we have a lot of instant speed interaction now, so I can just pass the turn. Because the best case scenario here is that I get Entity Tracker down. That just really makes our life very, very good. If they... Okay, Evangelist. How does this work? When it attacks, X damage to each opponent, and you gain X life, or X's number of creatures with power 2 or less. So this is going to do 3 if Evangelist resolves. I think Evangelist doesn't resolve. Get the use out of the quench while you can. Arabella gets in for 1 and drains us 1. Tap land is not my favorite thing here. I could definitely momentum breaker. I think that's good. Okay. Would love to draw yet another land so that we could do the 1-2 punch of Entity Tracker and Nowhere to Run. I mean, our opponent's probably sitting on a fair amount of removal as well. Voice of victory for our opponent. Very happy with this. Voice. Draw. Not happy with a land there, though. Now that they get to deploy their removal, although, yeah, what do we get here? Tell me it's not a Legend of Roku. Fascinating. Okay. Exile the cards. Stadium Headliner for our opponent. No attacks. Okay. Delny, Helix. Alright, let's get a land down. Let's play Fear. And pick up Nowhere to Run. That's pretty amazing. We're gonna play the Nowhere to Run that they know about. I understand that, you know, Arena makes it so it doesn't matter. We're gonna take out the Headliner because it is essentially a removal spell. And I think we actually attack here, right? 1 mana of any color. Very cool. Alright. Yep. So what they should do is they should Helix the Tracker and then cast Delny. That is not the right Helix target. I don't under... That is not the right Helix target. Nowhere to Run. Takes out Delny. Opponent gets in for 2, triggers Firebender Ascension. Okay. We will play a basic land for turn. We're going to play the Legend of Kuruk. Scry first and draw. We will take a Momentum Breaker with Enthusiasm. Draw an additional card. We'll play a Momentum Breaker. Remove our opponent's last creature. Play Storm Chaser's Talent. I cannot believe they didn't hit the tracker there. That just feels like a huge misplay on their part. Hello, Roku. Okay, second creature is pretty solid for them. But I don't think that it matters. We've got too much. We've got too much value right now. Tragic Trajectory takes out Delny. Boomerang Basics picks up Momentum Breaker. Momentum Breaker kills Roku. We'll get in for 6. Play our land for turn and say go. I mean, I'd rather hold up Tracker here. Yeah, this game's over. That's it, folks. Good game. On to game 2. Dimir Boomerang. Seeing if we can merge Lessons and the Dimir Self-Bounce Shell. This is a great start. Storm Chaser's talents into Boomerang Basics. We've also got Nowhere to Run on the play. This feels like a strong start. We will start with a Storm Chaser's talent. Everybody's favorite first turn play in Standard right now. Is this worse than Llanowar Elf? Planes for our opponent, Healer's Hawk. We'll get in. No blocks for our opponent passing the turn. Yeah, we're going to pass Hold Up Nowhere to Run. Try to take out their payoff creature. A Johnny's Pridemate for our opponent. They attack for 1. We remove Pridemate. They go back to 20. So this is a little tricky. I think I Momentum Breaker and get in for 2. It's okay. Like, keeping their board clear is the most important thing that I can do right now. So I don't love missing a land drop here, but if I hit any untapped land next turn, I should be able to Boomerang one of my removal spells back. Pridemate for our opponent, and follow-up is Healer's Hawk. So we did not get there. So what we now have to do is Boomerang Basics are Nowhere to Run and hope to draw an untapped land. That'll do it. So they know that we have it. I don't think they play with protection spells in that deck. Let's find out. Resplendent Angel for our opponent. Leon and Vanguard. We'll take out the Pridemate. They gain a life, and another from the Hawk. Would have liked to land a whole lot more here. Storm Chaser's talent grows our guy to a 2/2. I think we can't really threaten to attack here. We just have to say go. We're still in an okay position. Last card for our opponent is Leyline of Hope. Well, I'm going to take out the Angel. Now the Vanguard does not gain them any life, and they cannot attack with it. 1 gains 2 for our opponent. We're going to play Fear, pick up a Nowhere to Run, get our tap land down and say no. Okay, our opponent is playing with off the top of their library. Let's see if they can pull an incredible upset here. Sheltered by Ghost is not good. Because I've got another Nowhere to Run in my hand. You've got to hit the Fear of Isolation or I'm gonna... Yeah. This is this is the only way you gain life this turn. Okay. I think I'm pretty safe to cast Accumulate Wisdom here. Very tempted to take a land. But frankly, the House Grows Hungry is also a very good hit here. Yep, We're going to get in for 4. Our opponent's really on the back foot here. Sorry, I missed my cue there. Okay. I was gonna say if they drew another one, yeah. Don't attacking with both is quite an error. Yeah, now I get to block. I mean, they may have just said they're done. Like that. This may be giving up. So we can cast Legend, grow our guys, draw some cards. I think I want the isolation first. I guess it doesn't matter because I'm going to draw them both before my opponent, before my next turn. Ready to scoop. Hinterland Sanctifier for our opponent. Good for them. I really want to land. That'll do. Oh, did I mess up? Oh, I did. I messed up. That's hubris. That's 100% hubris. Yeah. Fear of isolation. Pick up a nowhere to run. I did this wrong. But I have blocked my opponent from being able to do anything. You just gonna attack in? Alright. Entity tracker. Let's summon the avatar. We'll play the House Grows Hungry. Destroying their blocker. That is enough for our opponent. Good game. On to game 3 with Dimir Boomerang. Trying to combine the Boomerang basics with our old friend Dimir Self Bounce. This is fine. We don't have any black mana, now that I'm looking at it a little bit harder. I do think we can keep this, and we will draw into black mana. Because we're not doing nothing here. We do have some interaction in the first few turns. Let's see what our opponent is up to. Grand for our opponent. We did not draw black mana, so we feel pretty bad right now. Storm Chaser's talent's gonna get a quench. Because I don't have anything else to do. Grand gets in, does her thing. Pitches a mountain. Woof. We're going to put Grand back in our opponent's hand and wish very badly that we had anything else to do. Risky keep on our part, really hurting us. What else you got? Abandoned attachment. Putting 2 lessons in the graveyard. Feels good. Puts the first accumulate wisdom in there. We did not draw. We did not draw land. We drew the most expensive card in our deck. The 2 4-drops in our deck we drew before we drew a 3rd land. Yep. What else you got? Abandoned attachments. We have discount. Just pitch a removal spell, friend. You don't need it. There you go. Fire off a 1-mana accumulate wisdom? Yeah. We're not going to continue playing. That's a good game. Defeated by our own hubris. Alright friends, game 4, currently 2-1 after keeping a very risky hand last turn and being thoroughly punished for it. This is fair. So I can Tiny Bones on 1, Momentum Breaker on 2 if I need to. Behold it if I don't. Entity Tracker flashes in on 3. We've got a curve out at the very least. So we can start on Swamp. Tiny Bones joins up and forces our opponent to discard a spell. You know, I'm just going to say it out loud. It's been a minute since I played against the Reanimator deck. So, okay, looks like we've got white-black Pixie. So we're playing against our friend. And cousin Orzhov Pixie. Aerialist for our opponent is very good for them. Yep. Momentum Breaker is a fantastic answer to this card. Yes. I'll take that win. Thank you. Folks, we are on to Game 5. Currently 3-1 with Dimir. Self-bounce, Dimir Boomerang, thanks to our new friend Boomerang Basics, an amazing card that on first glance doesn't necessarily seem that great, but 3 lessons in hand is also good. This is actually a little questionable because I'm not really interacting with what my opponents are doing very much. We're going to keep it because the mana is decent. I do like that. The fact that I'm on the play with Risen Reef in my hand, because this is the 100% the best time to be able to play this card. Forest and no follow-up for our opponent. We'll play Watery Grave and pass the turn. Certainly going to cast Accumulate Wisdom on their end step. Second green mana for our opponent, Frenzied Baloth. Okay, let's get the Wisdom out of the way. Taking the tracker. Love to draw removal for that thing. So, during the attack phase, you assign attackers. There it is. Okay, we got there. We got there. We will pass again, hopefully not getting slammed with another green hasty creature. The Frenzied Baloth is strong enough. Llanowar Elf for our opponent. Follow-up Forest, Badger Mole Cub. Yep. Earthbend's a land. Very strange. I mean, it's not our opponent's fault. They didn't, like, choose necessarily the order in which these things happened. Okay. We're in trouble. Just looking at their board. They have an enormous amount of stuff going on here. So I can bounce their land. Can I? Non-land permanent. I cannot bounce their land. So I can bounce the elves and slow them down a little bit. I can play Legend of Kuruk and draw several cards, but they're going to cast Ouroboros next turn. That's just the truth. I think we have to accumulate wisdom right now. Yeah. We're going to play the starting town. We're going to bounce the elf, and we're gonna say go. Not good. Not good at all. Even though our opponent got off to a slow start, they're still very far ahead now. They've got 4. They're showing 4 mana. So if they cast Ouroboros, we're done. There it is. They always have it. They 100% always have it. Go ahead. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, so, like, not being able to target Ouroboros right now, this is the power of this card. It is a must-answer card. If you don't immediately answer it, you are just dead. So there is a scenario in which I get out of this, but I have to draw. Yeah. That's not it. I needed to draw another Boomerang Basics, so We are on to game 6, currently 3-2 with Dimir Boomerang. And I feel like I've gotten a Boomerang basics in every single one of my opening hands, which is very fun for me. So we're on the draw. This hand's fine. My mana is good. I have stuff to do. Our opponent didn't do anything on turn 1. That makes me feel loads better, because now I get to Storm Chaser on 1 and then probably bounce Storm Chaser, play it again on 2. Is our opponent going to get lost our Storm Chaser's talent? Alright, so our opponent is holding up Get Lost mana. We're going to play Gloomlake Verge, so we have mana. We're going to get our attack in first. We're going to play a second Storm Chaser's talent, which we 100% should have played before we attacked. And we'll pass the turn from there. Left a point of damage on the table there. Caretaker's talent for our opponent. Very interesting. Okay, so now we will play an island. We will Boomerang one of our own Storm Chaser's talents, making our otters bigger. Get in for 4. We're going to hold now. Holding up, it'll quench you to stop board wipe. We will also use it to stop an Overlord. This is a little tricky because I really want to play Entity Tracker, but I don't want to play into a board wipe. So we're just gonna get in the low-hanging fruit here of the 4 damage there with the otters. They're very incentivized to board wipe here. Overlord is not what I expected. Our opponent makes 2 flyers. White mana is gonna copy a flyer. Very good for them. Okay. We will flash in Entity Tracker. We need some really good draws here. We need to draw an interactive spell with this Momentum Breaker. That'll do. I'm not sure if that wins us the game, but I do need to. I need a black mana here, so I need to be careful because it'd be very easy for me at this point to mess this up. Threatening lethal, you have to block. Yep. And here's where our opponent board wipes. Board wiper bust. They've got it. They've always got it. Another Overlord is not gonna do it. Oh, they didn't have it. Whew. Alright friends, this is it. Game 7, currently 4-2 with Dimir Boomerang. Questionable. Very questionable. I don't like mulliganing, but this might be the one. You know, I can play Gran on 1, and if it doesn't get dealt with, and actually having a threat early on that has to be dealt with takes resources from your opponent. I'm gonna take the hand. Look at those Ozai sleeves. I gotta tell you, the avatar sleeves on this client, very cool. Blazemire Verge means they can't remove Gran on my turn, at least as far as I know. So if they want to take the turn off to remove Gran, we don't feel great about it, but we'll accept that loss. Our opponent is playing a Start Your Engines deck. Alright, 1 Gran down. We'll play Starting Town, and from there we can actually just pass. We're going to accumulate wisdom on our opponent's turn, see what they are up to. Wow, very much a dedicated Start Your Engines deck. What does that mean? Okay, Overlord of the Bale Merc means we're doing some kind of reanimating, coiling rebirth style. They left it all in the graveyard. We're going to accumulate wisdom. Definitely looking for quenches here. Got it. Gloom Lake Verge for us, and we will pass. This is a different kind of reanimator deck. Okay, our opponent goes right to their end step. We'll flash in Entity Tracker. They do not have a removal spell. Unfortunately, I also don't have anything to do with my mana right now. We're just going to attack for 2. Our opponent missed a land drop. They are probably not going to be able to recover from what happens next. I really, really, really need to draw an enchantment. I'm going to allow that to resolve, I think, because I need to hold the quench for a reanimation spell. We'll play our second tracker. Second quench. Pay 2 life, attack for 2. Now I'm feeling a little bit more stable. Yeah, Zombify gets a quench. Fifth land for our opponent. Very tricky. Honestly, I think I just hold. I gotta hold the quench up. They do have 2 black mana because they've got a starting town, so it is very possible for them to play Coiling Rebirth here. And now they've got enough mana to zombify through. Very cool. What is our opponent thinking about? Ooh, there's a Bahamut in their graveyard. Valgavoth's Faithful is very cool. Overlord's online. Unfortunately, the house is growing hungry. So Valgavoth's Faithful is going to do the thing. Boy, that's a little annoying. I cannot stop Valgavoth's Faithful from triggering next turn unless I kill it. That was very lucky. So now, if I kill Valgavoth's Faithful and they have a chance to resolve things, and from there, there's nothing else for it. If they can do what they need to do at that point, well, okay. I mean, I've got a couple of responses here. So my shields are down, but yeah, my shields are down, but I'm okay. Let me see, because I think Tursa. Okay. Am I discarding a card? I don't think I am. Are you going to discard a card? So I can Momentum Breaker and kill Tursa. Play my land for turn. Pick up Momentum Breaker. Play it again. Oh, that feels real good. I can't believe they didn't play it last turn. Am I wrong? They have the mana. They must have had that in their hand last turn, right? Why not play the Coiling Rebirth? Yes, sir. GG's, friend. Opponent makes a 3-3. So I actually can't return that. Yep. I'll go to 9. And their graveyard gets exiled. Oh, the house grows hungry does exactly what it was designed to do. Listen, I've had a tough day of Magic. It feels really good when your deck does what it's supposed to do. Boomerang Basics the talent. I can get up to 6. We're not gonna play with our food. That's 6 damage. Thank you for being a good sport. GG's, friend. All right, friends and opponents, how did we do today? We ended up 5-2 on camera. Again, I think that this deck is actually pretty solid. We know that there's an Esper version of this deck, which also adds white, which allows you to get Nurturing Pixie. Probably don't have Fear of Isolation in that deck. You don't have so much of an enchantment theme, and that deck's very strong as well. The main reason I wanted to stick with blue and black today is I played this deck previously in past seasons, and I really wanted to see how much the new cards changed the way that the deck play, and really just how good Boomerang Basics was, and it turned out this card is just as good as everybody says it is. And in a deck where you're always getting value out of it because you're returning things like Momentum Breaker and Nowhere to Run, you just get an enormous amount of value out of every card that you play. And I think that the deck is very low to the ground. It's only 23 lands. The curve tops out at 4, and there's only 2 4-drops in it. The truth is that the Legend of Kuruk is kind of a flash in the pan where you look at it and you play it a couple times. You go, this feels strong, and then you play it and you go, you're really just drawing extra cards, right? I could be doing something else with that mana. I don't know, I could be playing Stock Up instead and probably get more value out of it than I'm actually getting out of the Legend of Kuruk, but we wanted to try out the new cards to see how good they are. This one's really neat. I like it a lot. I'm not sure that it is necessarily the most competitive option for this deck, but otherwise, the All-Stars that we're already aware of are definitely pulling their weight here. Entity Tracker draws us a whole bunch of cards. I'm actually not super keen on the Lesson sub-theme. I think Boomerang Basics by itself definitely goes in the deck, but I don't really know about including the Lesson sub-themes just because they are objectively good cards. The loss of synergy pieces to play these cards that feel good, I don't know if that's actually the right way to do it, and I'd be very interested to see what a more competitive version of this deck looks like. So, I'm going to look around at it a little bit, see if there's some ways to adjust it, see some ways to make it a little bit more competitive. But all in all, if you've got the pieces for this and you want to add Boomerang Basics, Gran, Accumulate Wisdom, It'll Quench You, none of those are rares. Legend of Kuruk it's a mythic, but you could pass on this. You could just add all of those commons and uncommons to your deck and probably power it up the old version of the old Dimir self-bounce deck. It wouldn't be hard to upgrade it with these avatar cards and not really have to add any rares at all. So that is all we have for this week. Again, thank you as always for watching. If you're here at the end, I see you. You're fantastic. Thank you so much for sticking around and helping out the old algorithm. Thank you as always for watching, and remember, take care of your head. Hey gang, thanks so much for tuning in. Click that subscribe button to support the channel and check out our last video from Avatar Standard where we took some lessons from the world champion.